Today's episode is sponsored by 460 Nature Reserve, a brand with a purpose. If clothes were fruit, 460 would be in the organic section. It's nutrition, not just food. So when you say you regret those things, did you ever have a conversation with the mother of your child about that, like those regrets? Did you ever share that? Did you ever speak to anyone about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it plenty of times as well. It's like I have so much time for single mothers. So why am I gonna be in your car? We get pulled by police. Next thing, oh yeah, I'm in prison because there was something in your car and you didn't want to admit that it was yours. Now I can't snitch because that's the rules that we lead by. I must now go and sit in jail. So I take myself away from people I don't need to be around. Women play a minuscule part in how guys behave because they love a bad boy.
100%.
They love a bad boy. Am I right? She smiles. And the way it is, I always say this, right? There'll be a kid he's smart, he's clever, good looking, but he's not on crud. He's not on nothing. Just
Hey guys, Charlie here, LITC Podcast, LITC Media. We've got another podcast coming up. What I need from you guys, I really need from you guys, is to like, subscribe. Like, subscribe. I think there should be some sort of thing coming up here for telling you to like and subscribe. But if you can do that, it will really help us grow our following along our journey. All right, here we have Bobby Kasanga.
what's going on, bro?
This episode, what is it, Ava? Episode 13, LITC Podcast, LITC Media. You know what? Usually I do this. We start a certain way, but obviously, like I suppose when it comes to this podcast thing, you're the upper echelon. So it's an honor to have you in here, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. So the way we usually like to start is by looking at a piece of art. Okay. So and just literally looking at that piece of art and just tell me what it says to you.
That looks witchcraft, you know. I can't even lie.
Yeah.
It could be, I don't know. It looks like someone's in a ritual. That black thing could be like a fox or a black fox, a black wolf. Or the background as if they're in a fire, they're dancing around a fire. It could be Africa, tribal. There's arrows. Could even look like hell.
Well, why'd you say hell? What, the red?
The red background, the fiery background, the kind of demonic figure, we could kind of say. But I don't know. It could be a kid's party. I don't know.
Yeah. You know what? We've had similar people say similar things. We've been using this art for quite some time, but I remember we had one guy and I was like, oh, it seems a bit dark. Like, do you know what I mean? Ritual. And he was like, well, why is that then? And he said to me, it looks normal. Like he said, I grew up in Nigeria, so I should see this all the time.
Okay.
So for me, it just seems like party, do you know what I mean? But you know, like being over here, sometimes we might have a different
Western mind, yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So yeah. So that's generally like the way we like to start. Like to just try and take you somewhere else with it. But obviously this is about you and we want to know about Bobby Kasanga. We want to know about going back to the beginning, where you grew up, how you grew up, siblings, all of that sort of stuff. Like, what's led you to the path that you're on now, basically?
Yeah, sure. I mean, grew up in Congo until I was 3. That's why I was born. Came over here in 1989. We lived in Dulwich first, so I was living with my uncle and auntie, who I still consider my mum and dad because they raised me from such a young age. And with my cousins, which I still
Where were your mum and dad?
They were back home. Back home. So my dad used to actually be in the military over here in the UK. He used to be at the Royal military at Sandhurst, so where all the Royals go. So he studied over there, got his qualification, everything over there. But he was a businessman. He worked in banking.
Quite strict.
Not strict. No, not strict. But he was a money man.
Yeah,
he was a money man back home.
Yeah.
And obviously sent me to come over here to live with my uncle and auntie. So as an opportunity to go on to live in Britain. Yeah, we first moved to Dulwich, and then when I was maybe 5, we moved to the Gloucester estate in Peckham. My dad, because he's a businessman, used to fly back and forth to the UK all the time. Where my mum came on a couple of holidays, but I always knew that that's my mum and dad. But I still treated my uncle and auntie like mum and dad because they raised me. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, moved to Gloucester estate.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like?
Gloucester estate was fun for me, man. For me, it was fun. I remember just playing downstairs. Obviously, later on, when you look at it, you think, wow, we live in a dangerous place. Because I was so young, I just remember riding bikes, playing football, doing cartwheels, whatever. And I remember downstairs, we used to look around, all the cooler, older kids used to be downstairs. But for us, it's just about having fun. And I used to walk to school, I used to go to Brunswick Park Primary School in Canberra. And yeah, it was just fun. Only when I guess we left Gloucester in '97, December.
You say we, so who was there?
Me, my brother, or my cousin, my brother Carly, my younger brother Gervais, our younger sister Catherine was just born, and the older brother Oz, plus mum and dad. So 6 of us in the family.
Six of you, yeah.
So we moved to they moved us to the house in Justin Street in Peckham, and then plus the estate got knocked down.
Yeah. I remember when Gloucester went down. So all right, so you're there, you're playing out. What was it like them times? Because you're saying it was fun, like, and obviously you hear like, oh, Gloucester is quite infamous, there's a lot of trouble and whatnot. But for you, it was just the time to just play out, be with mates.
Honestly, it was. It's only until later on I looked at the research and looked back and like, wow, is this where I was actually living? It's crazy. But at the time, it never really hit you. I think it really hit me most about after Damilola Taylor died. It's like, wow, there's more stuff in the news about the estate and about the history of it and why it got knocked down originally, because this North Peckham part of the estate was still there. So, but growing up literally, and I think it happens with a lot of young kids right now, they're oblivious to what's going on. They're oblivious to the drug dealing. They're oblivious to the gang fights and the shooting. They're just going outside, Mum, can I go and play football? You're going to play football. The guy over there, he's got a gun, but you don't know because you're not seeing it. All you're doing is going to play football. As you get older, I always say the biggest transition is when you go from year 6 to year 7. Because year 6, you're king of the jungle. You're just playing football. When you go to year 7, all of a sudden you're now mixing with the year 11s, so the older kids, and you want to try and impress them and be cool like them, and that's where the biggest transition happens.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Because even the other day you're saying that, like literally this weekend, I was chatting to my daughter. So she's she's the last year, so she's year 6.
Yeah.
And she was like, my friend's the oldest in the whole school. But like, obviously they're kids, in it. So I'm just laughing what the oldest in the whole school. But like you say, you're the king of the jungle when you're in that age. But now you're going into people. I remember like you start school and like you're like, oh, this kid, you're small and this guy's like 6'2". Like, do you know what I mean? You're like, what is this? So it definitely makes sense. But you said about you used to go to Brunswick and you was like in Gloucester. Yeah. So what did you used to walk to school?
Yeah, we used to walk to school. It was like maybe a 15-minute walk, 20-minute walk. Because
who was walking?
Originally, I walked with my brother. Yeah. Then when he went to year 7, from year 5 to year 6, I'd be doing that walk by myself. But you think it's far, but Gloucester was so massive that the edge of it, if you go around the back of towards Southampton Way, Brunswick Park was just there, so it wasn't too bad.
You know what I'm trying to get at? Have you got any have you got a kid? You got any kids?
Yeah. Would we now let
you know, like times change, innit?
Yeah, I wouldn't allow my daughter's just gone to year 9. And it's only from year 8 we start letting her sort of travel further along to like. So now because she lives out in sort of Hornchurch area, so now she might travel to me in South London. Travel. Now she's got a phone we can call. But when she was in year 5 or 6, no, that
why wouldn't?
Now times have changed. And we don't know why times have changed. We don't know what's made things a bit more dangerous. But it's just that perception has changed. Now I think we're more fearful. Whereas back in the day, go and play out, hang out. We used to climb trees. Now there's health and safety. You see it in schools. A lot of school cancel sports days. So there's a lot of red tape around things now. So I think society's made us overly cautious sometimes.
I think you just hit the nail on the head when you said perception, because I don't think there's more. Probably there's. I don't know. Statistics will say. Let me not just say that like that. But there probably isn't more happening to young people then when we were growing up to there is now.
Yeah.
But like you say, that whole perception, the whole thing of all the red tape, it puts you in that bit of fear, like, do you know what I mean?
And I think technology also plays a part, because whereas we didn't have, we had a Game Boy and you had to play that kind of indoors, or because you don't get stolen or anything. But now everyone wants to be inside, because everyone wants to be on their phone, everyone wants to be online. Whereas before we didn't have those things, so you couldn't wait to go out. If you saw your friends playing out, you didn't want to stay at home. Now your friends are playing out, you're happy to be in your house, going on social media. So that's what's changed about society a lot.
And I think, like, touching on that point, that's the community. Your community is that social media.
Yeah.
You got your friends and all of that. That's your community. That's where you play outside. Yeah. Whereas we used to play outside, like active. Do you know what I mean? And then I suppose for me, this is what I was saying to my daughter the other day. I said, but you don't know how to climb, or you don't know how to do this. She said, yes, I do, Daddy. And she's like, you're big, you don't know how to climb. But I'm like, yeah, but you're good at Roblox. That's where you do your climbing and creating, you know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely see that parallel there. So you said you was traveling, going to school. You go what secondary school did you go?
Went to Warwick Park. Called I think the Harris Academy,
Harris
Peckham
Academy
now. Yeah, again, didn't really know the reputation of that school really, but I kind of was getting the gist of it because my brother will come back home and tell me all these mad stories of and name me all these Peckham boys and the gangs, and he'll come back and say this name and that name, and you kind of, it all sounds cool, sounds crazy, and there's a massive fight, and you're like, oh, when I go there, but I was a massive football head. Football was my dream and aspiration, so that's kind of from year 7 to year 8. That's what my concentration was on.
So Warwick Park, now Harris Academy.
Yeah, so it's Warwick Park, top set in school, quite intelligent.
What position do you used to play?
Oh, football wise, at those days I was midfield, man. Yeah. That's with Peckham Zidane, man.
Yeah, this guy. Zidane. But was you tall from back then, though?
Yeah, I don't remember even that tall. I think my growth spurt happened maybe year 11. I think I was sort of average height all the time, but I was a baller.
Yeah,
I was a baller.
Who was your age group, like from the ends that used to play? Was Cherno and them like your age group?
Yeah, Cherno was. Remember, Cherno's a year older than me.
Yeah.
And my brother's 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
So in year 6, when my brother's in year 6, I'm playing for the year 6 team.
Yeah.
So I'm playing 2 years above.
Yeah.
So when my brother's left and Cherno's in year 6, right?
Yeah.
I'm playing for South London in year 5.
Okay.
So Cherno's team. So we had Cherno, Dean Lodge, Nietzsche. He was in my team as well. So I was a baller.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're like, well, now carry on with the year. So
yeah, but
year 7, year 8, you're on football. You're at Warwick Park.
Year 7, year 8, I'm on football. Really and truly, I shouldn't have gone to Warwick Park. I should have gone to Wolf Road. It's not Wolf Road. I should have gone to St. Thomas. Because my teacher, the head of South London, who's my primary school, Mr. Underwood, my primary school teacher at Brunswick Park, he left Brunswick Park to go to St. Thomas. Yeah. So everyone's going to St. Thomas. So Warwick Park didn't even tell us when the trials were. So I missed the trials. Yeah. So I missed the trials. When I missed the trials, I think I was just so cocky in my head, like, everyone tells me I'm a baller, I'm going to make it, someone's going to spot me, but he's not even playing for a team. I was playing for the school team and playing locally, thinking that someone's going to come and it wasn't until later on, I actually need to go to a team. And by the time I was doing that, that's when the road thing was kind of in me already.
Okay, so when you say the road thing was in you, where did that come from? Where was the influence for that?
That was even by chance. I mean, I used to see these people all the time and I'm thinking, how can I infiltrate? How can I get in there? You see them, you think, them are cool, but like, obviously my brother's got a name by this time, and I'm just like his younger brother, where kind of few people know me. It was an incident where I was walking home, one of the guys who became a friend tried to rob me for my brother's hat. I had my brother's hat. And
how old was you at this time?
I was 14.
Okay.
And someone said, bro, no, we doing? That's Carly, brother. He went, oh, no, my bad, I didn't even know, man, you're one of us. Literally, then every day I'm hanging out with him. After he said I'm one of us, I literally... And it was petty things at the beginning, just like we're going to barrel peds, going Chocadero, street robberies, those little minor things. And you know, once you're kind of involved, things escalate. Someone will come to you with something else.
Was you bunking school? Was you going to school?
No, I was still going to school. I love school, but the reason why I like school because also there's a girl that I liked and she liked me, was going out, so I enjoyed being at school at the time. But at the same time, it was more so just out of school. What I'll be getting up to in school, I'll be behaving.
You said you was doing that. Some petty things and whatnot.
Yeah, we was doing street robberies. You just go Chocadero, West End.
Chocadero's not about no more.
Yeah. So you just go robbing people. And at the beginning, I don't think I was ever cut out to be a criminal.
When you say robbing people, like how? What do you mean? Like just going?
No, what phone you got? Yeah, let me see. What's your pockets?
What people?
Don't lie to me. Like people that look like me, people that don't look like me.
So people of your age.
People of our age, yeah, so on. But I was never cut out to be a criminal. I wasn't convincing, if that makes sense. It's like, everyone said, let's do robbery. I would have felt like, God, I don't want to do this. I don't do this, man. You guys are bad. Why you guys are robbing people's phones, man? That's wrong. Oh, they're like, shut up. If you don't come, don't come. But it's the fear of missing out, so you go with them.
Yeah.
And then when everyone's robbed their phones, you didn't participate. Yeah. They're going to sell them. They've got £80 in their pocket, £100 in their pocket. They're going JDs, bought a couple of trainers. You're looking at your trainers, peer pressure.
Yeah.
Peer pressure is the biggest influence on children's lives.
And how old was you them times when these things were happening?
14, 15. And I tell people all the time, parents, you think you've got a big influence on your child, you do. Teachers think you've got a big influence on your child, you do. Sports club, you do. No one's got a bigger influence than your peers. How many times did your friends say, your parents said, come home at 8 o'clock, your parents are like, let's stay out till 9, man, we're staying out. And you disobey your parents, the ones who feed you, the ones who look after you, the one whose home you live in, you disobey them. or your peers.
Yeah.
That is the biggest influence on children.
100%.
So it's like, so we're doing all those things. And remember, first time I got arrested, I got a beating in my life. My mum took my phone. And then after that, it was like, you know what? Yeah, this is kind of long. I tried to get back into concentrating on my schools. Done GCSEs, done all right. I got 9 ATCs. Applied to go to Richmond College.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I got back to my football, playing for Fisher Athletic.
Okay, yeah.
But then I got into a big bus stop at home. So you know what? Get this, I'm leaving home. So age 17, I left home. And that was the real turning
I'm going to
point.
ask you something, wait, before you stay at that point, the real turning point. But was the household strict though, like when you say out of school? Because what I find is growing up, like African parents, to my knowledge, were much stricter than like my West Indian counterparts.
Yeah.
So what was it like? Would you say it was quite easy?
No. My parents were strict, man. It was hard going out sometimes. Can we go out? No. Why? Don't ask us why. You're not going out. But you think it's unfair.
Yeah.
So to put that sometimes we jump out the window to sneak out. But it was a thing that where they were strict, but they were rightfully strict because we wasn't always the best behaved in regards to following boundaries. Say, okay, come home at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're coming home at midnight.
Yeah.
So when you're doing that, you're not trusted to be out again. So things like that. Yeah.
So what would be typically like? All right, so come home at 8, you get home at 10. What's happening? What is it?
Oh, you get beats, man. You get beats, man.
Yeah. What, straight beats?
And the thing is, I look back fondly on beats.
Yeah. But do you think that's a bit? Because I say that, and like like when you know what I'm talking about. When I talk to certain people, they're like, my God,
it's abusive.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right now, me, I got 2 girls, right? I can never hit my kids.
Yeah.
I can never hit my kids.
Yeah.
Because we live in different society, but also I look at them and thinking, that she done something wrong, tell them off, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But I can never condemn my parents for doing what they done, because that's what they knew, that's what they grew up doing. And people can say, well, the kids of today are running wild, there's no discipline. But even with the discipline we got given back in the day, people are still running wild.
But do you think that it's wrong, that I'm saying, to discipline kids in the way we were disciplined? Do you think it's generally wrong?
I'll say each their own.
Yeah.
I'll say each parent has their own method. I personally wouldn't do it. But if someone told me, you know what, this person was misbehaving, I gave him some licks, that's how you do your thing.
And the second part of that question is, do you think because of some of those things that we would get, like those beatings, that's maybe made us a certain way, like a bit more aggressive?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. It could, because it's only now really people are like 20 years, 25 years that people are talking about childhood traumas. Whereas these sort of things weren't ever discussed before. People say how things that happened to you years back, how it can affect you in your adult life. My partner always told me, like, oh, you've been in prison such a long time, is why sometimes you get angry, or sometimes why you become stubborn, or why time. So it's like we don't quite understand it. So for me, I definitely recommend people to try and do counselling, talking to people, talking to friends. We don't talk. We're encouraged not to talk. We're embarrassed to talk. We think like, I can't tell my bedroom this. He'll laugh at me. But he might be going through the same thing. Yeah. So, but yeah, in a sense, I don't know what effects it had, but it may have had an effect. Yeah.
No, because I look at it and I feel like, I look at my own path and I feel like anytime I've ever done anything aggressive like that, it's been out of anger. Like, it hasn't been nothing else because I'm angry. So it's like, I'm going to attack. Do you know what I mean? And then I feel like, even if I was to discipline my child, I'm going to discipline me. I love them, but it's out of anger. Do you get what I'm saying? So then I think that does transmit. Do you know what I mean? But then I'm like you in terms of, I actually look back funny and say, nah, I used to get beats. And then I like to tell my daughter, you're lucky. You know what I used to get? And she's like, Grandma, did you really? And then my mum's got amnesia. And she's like, I never used to do that to you. It wasn't like that. I'm like, yeah, you did, mate. Do you know what I mean? You know, like, go and get the weapon, like, you know, like your mum's like,
it's psychological warfare. They're actually telling you to go and get the belt, and you're looking at the belt, thinking, which one should I get? But they're all thick. You try and get the thing you want, and like, no, go and get another one.
You know, and that's exactly psychological warfare. Because at the end of the day, if you're gonna beat me, do it yourself. You can't get your own tools. Like, do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's one of them ones. But yeah, so we're saying so basically, like, cool. So you was at that point. You said the turning point.
Yeah, so the turning point, I left home. I went to live with my dad's my stepmom and my dad's house in Canning Town. Was there for a little while. I was at Richmond College, and the journey from East London to Richmond College.
So you was in East. So
Yeah,
you,
I was in East.
So when you left, you went.
Yeah, I went to
East.
Canning Town.
Yeah, okay.
So I was going to Richmond College, studying for 4 A levels. Then I was working part time at Peacocks, playing football for Fisher Athletics, and then started a little food line. I was shooting a bit of crow, but it took its toll. I'm 17, doing all these things, and I remember then one of my brothers had a housing store unit they lived in. One day I packed my stuff. So I'm gonna live by myself. So I went in there and I became independent. So doing all the things, but it took its toll at 17, trying to do all of that. In the end, college had to go, so I quit college. Then
so you didn't really have support at that time.
Yeah, I didn't have no support. Like I was fending for myself basically. So like college, going to football, paying my bills, like everything for myself.
Was you talking to the family at that time?
Yes and no. Like it's like there was conversation, but no one's like. It's like okay, you wanna learn the hard way, go on. It's tough love.
Yeah.
It's like you think you're a big man, go and be a big man then. So I had to grind it out, and I think that's the point that really, that was the turning point for me in regards to becoming transition and fending for yourself and being a man. And then of course when you kind of started needing money, the crime escalated.
And these times you was off end, so you was over. I
was in East London and Hackney. I went to move to Canning Town and then to Hackney.
And what was that like? Just at that age, or was it just normal? Took it in my stride, or coming from where we're coming from. Yeah. South's very different from like East, North, and especially at that age, like everywhere seems completely different from what you know. What was that like?
I think the thing is that Hackney is dangerous, just as Peckham was, just as Canning Town was, right? But I think obviously a few people knew me in Canning Town because I was going there back and forth when I was a kid. In Hackney, no one knew me, and it was easy to just cut through. Whereas if you're involved, you know all the passages, you know all the beefs, you know. So when I started my line in Hackney, I had my few little clients, and that's what I had. I wasn't troubling no one. My clients would come to me. Obviously, they had their other dealers as well, but like I was trying to cheapen my quality, so I had about 5 or 6, and it was cool for me.
And so
then it escalated to being white. But what I'm trying to say is that no one knew me, so no one troubled me. I just cut through and went to college, came back, opened my line again. So it was easy for me. Whereas in Peckham, I'll be looking over my shoulder because it's a bit more dangerous. By this point as well,
people know you, innit? Know who you are, know your family. We all know each other's business, innit?
Yeah.
So it's
And then obviously we're doing that for a few years, and then by the time like hit like 19, then my brother got into madnesses in Peckham, so everything turned kind of wild. So it's like looking over your shoulder, picking this, picking that.
Was you see at the time when you was up there in East? Was you still like seeing your lot like?
I'll come back to Woolly. So at this point, I was hanging out in Woolly Road a lot. So I was always in Woolly Road with my lot all the time. So I'll be in Hackney during the daytime. I'll go to Woolly Road and then go back again. So I was seeing people every now and then. Yeah. And then obviously, but I was doing most of my crime with the Mandem East in Canning Town area.
Yeah. So you said that it advanced. So you've gone from doing crow and it advanced. Like, what was it like? Just I want more money. What's
because at this point I'm trying to play football again. So I'm signing for Ilford and I'm playing football. And then it started off in a pro game, you know. I played Pro Evolution with my brethren. And he must have, there's some girl it's a woman actually, she's older than me, from Leicester, was coming down. And I had my bit of money that I had that I was going to entertain them with, maybe get some food, watch it. Gone to his house now. We're playing pro. Mama took all the money. Took all the money. I'm like, all right, cool. Give me back the money. I'll give you something at the end of the month when I get paid. And he's like, no. I'm like, all right, give me back cab money at least. Yeah. No. Give me back bus money. No. I had to bump the bus. I had to bump the bus.
And when you got girls coming down.
Yeah. In the end, I had to go to my mum's house who lived in Hackney as well. My biological mum. By this point, she come to the UK. Yeah. So mum, lend me some money. So she came down anyway. So like a few days later, he went to go and buy a car, innit? Mm. So we're playing pro again. So I want all the money off him to buy his car. Yeah. He's like, yo, run me back a bit for the... I said, you made me catch a bus the other day. I had to bump the bus the other day. You're mad. And then what happened next was, he told me I got to move. Do you give me the money? I got to move. I said, go and do your move. I'm not interested in your move. Each time I forgot he done the move. Following week I've gone there and we're playing pro and he's won the money back. He's like, you know what, keep your money, you champ change, I don't need it. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, so you're like, nah, what's going on there?
I took it back then.
Yeah.
Then he went underneath the bed and pulled out a PSP box. He had 10 grand. I never seen 10 grand in cash ever in my life. I'm like, right, so what did you do? He said, cash boxes. I said, don't. He said, yeah.
Yeah.
I said, okay, bring me in.
Yeah.
Then
You're seeing real money now, so you're like, yeah. So what the law was just there, straight, like nothing
someone
wrong.
you're seeing £10,000 in cash. We're
Yeah.
18 years old.
Yeah.
It's like,
But was there any like, yeah, all right, but I might end up in the bin for this?
nah, I'm excited,
That
man.
didn't cross your mind.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm like, okay, yeah. When's the next one? Let's do this. Yeah.
And then what? To go on. So what did you go on a move?
Yeah, then I went on the moves. That's what I started doing, non-stop, and then obviously
So cash boxes. So anyone that don't know, what's a cash box?
the security van. So you know them people who walk around with big helmets and they carry the briefcase into banks with the money in it. So that's who was robbing at the time. It used to be easy those days. Don't do it now, kids. They're gonna catch you. Yeah, they're gonna catch you.
Obviously, they'll say like, all right, so you get it, but then everyone will be, nah, but there's die. So how'd you get around the die?
Those days it was easy. The first box they had was hammer and chisel. Yeah. So basically, you'll bust it open while you're driving. So someone's driving, and then someone else will sit on the box, get your hammer and chisel, knock off the hinges. Then on 3, 1, 2, 3, pull it open. The die goes everywhere. You just take out the cash. Or someone opens the thing, and the other person grabs the cash out. Die everywhere. Throw the box out the car. Keep it moving.
Was there times when the die went on the money?
Yeah, but we knew how to wash them.
Yeah. Oh, so you know how to wash them.
We knew how to wash them. So yeah. So whenever people add die, I'll buy it for them half price because I knew how I was going to wash them. So
yeah. So all right, so cool. So you're doing it. So what you're doing? You're getting this money. What you're doing it quite regular?
Regular, and the thing is, you're not saving because now I was a man that would go to JD, might go to a Top Shop, but now I'm going Harrods, I'm going Selfridges, I'm going like before you know, all the money's gone. Everything, just on new outfits. Then you're going clubbing. I don't drink, but I'm buying bottles. Just because you want to keep up the facade and so on, and then man, I get lit. But money's gone. I know, man. We'll do another one. There's another one planned on Friday. There's a Sainsbury's. Oh, there's a BP. Oh, there's a whatever it is. We've got one lined up. That's how I was living from day to day. And then in 07, one of my brethren, they were planning one, ended up doing one. They got he ended up getting killed on the back of doing one, and then after that, everything just.
What do you mean he ended up getting killed from the actual?
So they've done a robbery, and then obviously people are arguing over the proceeds of the money, and then he's ended up getting killed after one the other guys have stabbed him. On the back of that, I get arrested a couple of days later because one of the people that ended up doing that one of his brother's younger brother got killed. Then I was arrested for murder at the time. It had nothing to do with me, but obviously because I'm thinking, nah, that's your brethren. Like all the brothers convinced that it was me.
All right, so when this has happened now, you know, the money, you're getting the money, you're living, you're enjoying yourself. But now it's gone to a point where a move's happened, someone's ended up getting killed because of the move. How are you feeling at that time? Because obviously, I assume your friends in all sides.
Yeah,
how's that making you feel?
But the guy who was killed was my closest friend. The others weren't really my friends like that. So I'm distraught. Okay. I'm like, rah, you guys killed my brethren. Nah, that's mad. And then obviously, what made sense to the police and the brother was that a couple of days later, one of the guy's younger brothers being killed. So they figured, wait a minute, you're his brethren. You're always with him. This is what happened. So you're involved. It had nothing to do with me. But
what I'm trying to ask is, because I think sometimes we skip over these things. What's the feeling going on with you?
Oh, I'm distraught. I'm heartbroken.
I'm saying, what's the feeling? You thinking, no, you know what? I'm riding for my brethren. What's all the sort of things that were going through your head at the time?
I'm heartbroken. I'm not stopping crying. I'm crying all the time. Wake up in the morning crying. You go to sleep. You're actually forgetting that this even happened. You wake up, you remember, oh my God, this is not even a dream. My mum is really dead. I'm not thinking of riding because at this point, the person that done it has handed himself in. So I'm not thinking anything of it. But I didn't know there was other counterparts to it of where the money apparently was and so on, and who had it and so on. So I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just thinking, okay, my brother's dead. I've gone to visit his mum, and I'm just distraught. I'm thinking, rah, that's just mad how that's happened, sort of thing. So revenge ain't even on my mind. Because as far as I'm concerned, the person who's done it has handed himself in now. Obviously, a couple of days later, things have escalated, and then the young boy got killed in his bed.
Mad. And then you said that they've come and grabbed you.
Yeah.
And then they basically tried to charge you with that.
They didn't charge me, but they was watching me. They were seeing, okay, what's going on here? And then it got to the point that where obviously eventually when they've done all their due course and they realized, oh, you're not involved,
So did they try and nick you? Did they try and nick you?
Yeah, I got nicked for it.
Yeah. And then what happened with like you got nicked? Did they bail you? What happened?
So I got bail after 2 days. Originally, Trident arrested me. Then while I was in the train station, Flying Squad came and arrested me as well. So at that point, it was Peter. I mean, that's what Flying Squad. But Trident, I'm like, no, it's not me. Got nothing to do with me. But Flying Squad is like, oh shit, okay, like this is kind of mad. But then even when I done the interview, like it was saying no comment. But I'm like, yeah, I wasn't there. Like when they're telling me about the robberies, I'm like, I wasn't at that robbery. What day? No, I was at football. So football was always my alibi because I was always at football the times they're talking about. So, and I wasn't doing moves with the man in Peckham. I was doing moves with the guys in East. So when they bring all these, I'm like, it ain't nothing to do with me. Obviously, they let man go. But at that point, you're so used to making that money, instead of just chilling, 3-4 weeks later, I'm back out doing the robberies again, and then I get nicked.
Alright, so and how old were you at this point?
I was 20. Yeah.
You get nicked for a box?
For a box, but then obviously they start doing the investigation, cell site, start linking my phone to bare other robberies, that's all other places, and in the end, went to jail.
Yeah, and like what you got the sentence? How long did you get that?
So originally it was 5 to 2.5, but then while I was in there, I came towards the end of my sentence, got out, but then they started investigating other cases, and then I got caught with another move, and then sent straight back in. So basically, I done a total of 8 years. So from 2007 2015.
Yeah,
in jail. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get to that point. So at that point, I'm gonna ask you a question. What would you say to the younger you at that point?
I would say everything that I've done now. I would have told my younger self that, but what I would have told my younger self after I originally got arrested for the murder and the boxes was like, you know what? You just made your debut the other day. Forget all these things, because that weekend my brethren got killed. I just made my debut for Ashford Town against Folkestone in the Ram Prem. So it's like I'm 20-year-old striker banging in goals, and just being signed to a new club. The only way is up.
So so like growing up, would you say at that age, did you have any role models? And if so, who were your role models?
Oh, if I'm honest, I didn't have like those people. There was like big up all Kamal and that who used to run Bethlehem Football Club. They took us under their wings for a little while and done what they could, but that was just on the football side of it, where I was just trying to go back to kickball. But there wasn't someone say, you know what, my man's moving correctly, doing everything legitimately. I'm gonna try and be like him. There wasn't no one like that, because I aspired to be like the people that's making money on the roads, and that's what it is. I think nowadays we champion the wrong things. We champion the bad boys. We champion the drug dealers, and I joke about this a lot, right? And we've got a woman in here, right?
Yeah.
I joke about this a lot. I say sometimes also it's a minuscule part, but women play a minuscule part in how guys behave, because they love a bad boy.
100%.
They love a bad boy. Am I right? She smiles. See? And the way it is, I always say this, right? There'll be a kid he's smart, he's clever, good looking, but he's not on crud. He's not on nothing. Just they don't like him. They like the one who's causing trouble, who's a bit rough on the edge, and then when the good kids see, they're like, rah, yeah, that's what they like. I'm gonna be like that too. And then before you know it, my man turned into a madman, and that plays a part as well. That it's hardly spoken about.
When you look back at that, how does that make you feel? Actually thinking, wow.
Yeah, it's mad, and that's why it's so key for me for doing what I'm doing now. I feel like, wow, where people like me and people like
you're thinking, man, I'm all growing up, like, and I can't really say. And don't get me wrong, some people think, well, I was positive in your life, but you can't really sit down there and say, I had maybe one or two.
I wouldn't say there's someone that I'm gonna be like him. He's teaching me the right thing. There wasn't no one like that. So when you look back, you feel like, raw. It was mad. There wasn't no one really. I could say my dad, I could say my uncle, but they were just doing what they were doing. They're just working, and I aspired to do more and be more, sort of thing. So it's sad when you look back at it.
Yeah, and like just going off of it a little bit. Have you got we're talking about role models and things like that. Have you got a favorite quote?
Well, I got a few.
Give me one or two.
So first one is, if you always do what you always done, you always get what you've always got.
Okay, expand on that a bit.
So basically, if, for example, I tell myself I'm gonna work out and I never work out and I keep eating, nothing's gonna change. I'm just gonna be overweight and keep putting on weight and nothing's gonna change. So it's the same with anything. Bad habits. if I came back out on road and kept on doing road stuff, I'll go back in jail. So you need to change your mentality. So as I said, if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you always got. It'll be the same result. And then the other one is the quiet baby doesn't eat.
Like, that sounds good. Explain that to me. I see LB like nodding his head, like giving you approval.
Basically, we're two babies. We're both hungry. You're just quiet. I'm like, ah! Mum walks in. Oh, he's hungry. Can give me food. You're gonna sit there because you can show right.
That's a good analogy.
And the same thing that you can apply that to your adult life.
Yeah.
Because people always telling me, oh, you post 15, 16 times a day. You're always on social media. I'm like, yeah, I am promoting what I do.
Yeah.
I run my page like a blog. So I'll put some funny stuff out there, put that. But in between there, there's Hackney Football Club. In between there, here's my podcast. So subconsciously, I'm feeding you what I'm doing with everything else that's going around. And I'm talking about what I'm doing. Some people like, yeah, what do you call it? I'm doing the same as you. How come I'm not getting the funding?
Yeah.
I say, I talk about what I do. I'm not ashamed to say it. It's not an ego thing. It's not but if I've helped 5 kids get a job, I'm going to... Guys, I can help 5 kids get a job. Government, are you seeing this? I can help 5 kids get a job. Give me more funding. So now I can get 10. So I can get 10 kids. Now I can get 15 kids. But people sometimes it's like fake humility. Like, oh yeah, now I just do things in the background. No, talk about what you do because the quiet baby doesn't eat.
No, that's that's a sick and like I really get that. Like especially when you said about just the crying. You are gonna think, I've got to look after this one.
Yeah.
But coming where we're coming from, like you said, man will be like, I'm doing what you're doing, but I'm not getting that. Oh, that's dead. I'm not like gonna be out here like that. Man's not really on social media and all that. Because I know you must have had those conversations. You've had certain people from N saying, "Oh yeah, stop all that," or "Don't do this." And
Oh,
that.
mate,
What's that been like for you?
my brother will call me every couple of hours, every day. Yo, take that story down. I'm like, why? This person's upset. I'm like, tell them to call me. Like, what are they upset about? I'm not incriminating anyone. I'm telling that. Especially when I started doing the murder stories, right?
Yeah.
And there's a few where I say, okay, cool. I'll take those one down because it was some that were unsolved.
Yeah.
The people that were, you know what, those are unsolved. Cool. I hear that being from the streets, cool. Others, people are just upset. Like, what are you upset about? I'm not putting you in a bad light. I've not incriminated you. I'm not incriminating no one. I'm just telling stories from my perspective. I was getting bare calls from different people from Peckham saying, oh, my man's upset. And
Certain
this
man
person's
that
upset.
you're playing friends as well, innit?
Yeah. So it's like this and that. At the end of the day, everyone will see the bigger picture sooner or later. And now it's like, you know what? We fuck what you do. I don't know if I'm like to swear on this or not.
Yeah.
But we like what you do.
Yeah.
We support what you do. But before, when you're the first to try and do something, people look at you like, what's my man doing there? What is he talking
How
about?
does that make you feel though? Like, and I'm saying on a real, because like you said, you were saying earlier about mental health and we don't talk sometimes as men and whatnot. How does that make you feel when you're thinking, hang on a minute, now you're begging it a little bit. Friends or no friends, you're begging it with me now and you understand what I'm doing. But you were on me, like you were talking.
No, but as I say, for me, that's not even the wrong word. It's not even begging it. For me, it's like coming to understanding and realization. Because, like I said, when someone's doing something, you might not understand it, so you'll be anti towards like, right, what's my man doing? What's he trying to do? When you realize it, all my whole thing's like, oh, they just didn't understand. Now they understand it, it's cool. So I'm not gonna say like they're begging it. So if someone wants an opportunity, I was having a conversation with my missus yesterday about this as well, like about opportunities and helping other people out. Me, if there's an opportunity for there and I can help you with, and it doesn't cost me, and even if it does cost me, if it doesn't, that's not crazy out of my pocket, I will help and try and support you best I can. Even if you try to talk smack before, right? Because I believe in things happening naturally. Like, we got the maddest sponsorship deal coming next year, right? And when people see it, they'll be like, "Rah, how the hell did you do that?"
Yeah.
But it's just through consistency and supporting. Like, for example, right? I'm coming on this podcast today, right? I don't know the viewership it does.
Yeah.
You turn around and tell me, oh, it doesn't get that many views, right? But it's all right because I'm helping to come support and help boost your channel. Tomorrow you might be the person running BBC. And you remember, actually, you know what? My man helped me when we was low. So I remember when I was low, when we was outside and not fundraising with our buckets. I remember, so whenever I see someone homeless, I always try to give money because I remember we was out there with our buckets saying support our football club sort of thing. So I'm not going to turn around, I'm an angel. I'm not an angel. If there's things to say no, I'll say no. But for me, if you can support and help someone, and I think it's also honesty. Honesty in business. Honesty at all times. LB's right here. He'll tell you, me and him are meant to be working on a project. There's meant to be a fee around it. But these people are gone silent. So I would never want them to feel like, right, actually, Bobby, kept quiet about that thing. Wait, I ain't heard for a little while. What's going on there? My boys told him. I said, as soon as I hear anything, I'll let you know. I ain't heard nothing. But I'm loyal in that sense that where if I've told you something and I can do it and I can make it happen, I'll make sure you're part of it. But it's like that because then people, don't get me wrong, there'll be someone else who turn around and bump me and say, oh, you know what? But it's like, I know just through everything I'm doing, things are happening, doors are opening. We've got the biggest sports brand in the whole world sponsoring our football club. That's mad.
Levels.
So it's like, it's all about what energies you put out there. Yeah. But I'll tell you what I've done. So even today, I had like 3 messages from 3 different people telling, oh, they're looking to start their football club. How can I help? What did I? Look, I can't give you money, but what I can do is tell you what I done.
Yeah.
We went out fundraising. Yeah. We went out doing this. We was on social media all day. We went to our local councillors. And I give you the tools so you can uplift yourself as well.
Today's episode is sponsored by 460 Nature Reserve, a brand with a purpose. If clothes were fruit, 460 would be in the organic section. It's nutrition, not just food.
We've had a quick costume change because he had to go out, like he got an award or whatever, or he got nominated for an award, so we've had to change. So I feel it's a bit weird. But anyway, so I was saying, what advice would you give to the younger youth?
Most definitely patience, man. I wasn't patient enough. It was a thing that where I wanted everything now, give it to me now, instead of waiting. And I realized now in life, you work hard and you be consistent and just be patient, your time will come. So definitely that's the main advice I'd give myself.
Where do you think that comes from? What do you think when you look back, like, why you wasn't patient?
Definitely peer pressure, because you're seeing this person got that thing, this person got that, you ask your mom, can I get these? Oh, wait. But like, everyone's got these things now. Everyone's got the latest trainers now. Why am I having to wait? So it was definitely the peer pressure, society as well, seeing other people with things and people saying, oh, look what you got, you ain't got this. So that was definitely played a part in it.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I was having a conversation with one of my pals the other day, and we were saying, like, growing up, where we grow up, a lot of times it's about possessions.
Yeah.
So that's what makes you who you are. That's what makes you someone, like having that possession. I've got this car or I've got these clothes, and it's something that you really hold dear.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that? Like, because you're saying about peer pressure to get these things, but then when you get them, do you really value them? Like,
yeah, it's not even that deep at all as well. When you really think about, okay, you want the latest trainers, you get them, you wear it once, twice, they're done now. So it's about trying to teach people that possessions. Yes, possessions are great. You want to look nice, you want to have the latest things, but they're not that important in life, really and truly. The most important thing that you want to be successful is, can you provide for your family? You got a home to stay in, and you got food, you got shelter. That's the basic needs. Anything else is a bonus. But it's hard to see that when you're growing up, because growing up, it's all about status. It's all about wanting to be known on the road. Everyone wants to be the biggest gangster. A lot of these guys in their 40s and onwards now, they're thinking of something like, bro, I've done all of that. I got this crazy status as this legend in the streets, but I'm still living at my mom's house, for example. So it's crazy what we really value.
Mm-hmm. All right. So like you were talking about the prison sentence and whatnot. And I think a lot of times, do you know what I mean? People want to know, they want to know that side of it. So when you was in, how do you think, like, when you look, did you have a child at the time when you was inside?
Yeah.
And what was that like?
Oh, it was hard, man, because she was born while I was in jail. And then I was briefly out, so I got to spend some time with her when she was 18 months, and I was straight back in jail again. But it was hard because, like, the first time ever you're a father, like, we can look at human society. Why are we here for? Is to continue the lineage.
To create little Bobbies. And
yeah, but if you look at human society, you're meant to be here, you create more, and then the generation goes on. So for the first time that's ever happened in your life, you're in prison, and you see, and you not experience it. You're not there. So for me, it was very difficult. And then having to build that relationship with her later on, it's not the same, because now I see the difference. Because my youngest daughter, I was there from the get-go. I see when she came out, I see her first walk, I see when she's taught for the first time, crawling, going to nursery. With my first daughter, I miss all of that. And it's a massive things you have to repair, but it's not always going to be the same, because it'll be like, wait, you wasn't there. You chose to go to prison. You chose that lifestyle. Of course, we've got a good relationship now, but you regret these things. Like you think, wow, I didn't even play a part in her life at the very beginning, so it was hard.
Yeah, and so when you say you regret those things, did you ever have a conversation with the mother of your child about that, like those regrets? Did you ever share that? Did you ever speak to anyone about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it plenty of times as well. It's like I have so much time for single mothers because right now I'm in a relationship where we both do it together, looking after a child. So I can only imagine someone having to do what we do together on their own.
Mm.
And I see some mothers got 3, 4 kids doing their own. That's fucked off. And that's why I can't stand, what do you call it, men who don't play a part in it. Mind you, there are some who I guess they're going through the courts and so on, but don't let her be the reason why you can't see your children. If you can go, some people are just lazy. They're not trying to make an effort. So for me, like I would tell her, like, right, you know what? You held it down. You look after my child. My child is 13 years old now. She's in year 9, gonna be 14 next year. So I got so much time for single mothers because it's hard. Like we wake up this morning and the youngest has to go to nursery. We're looking at each other like, the alarm's gonna. Who's taking her? It's hard, and there's 2 of us in the house.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got so much time. So I let her know, like, yeah, that the work that she done is very appreciated.
And how do you think it affected your daughter? How do you think it affected your daughter, or like you say, like the mother of your child? Like, how do you think it affected
With my
them?
daughter, with my eldest daughter, we have a good relationship. I tell her she can talk to me about anything, and she'll call me, we'll speak. She needs things, but I can see there is a vast difference between in terms of the relationship I have with her and the relationship I have with my youngest. And I wouldn't ever want her to ever resent that because it'll be like, well, you wasn't there when it was my turn. You was in prison, sort of thing. But I always tell her all the time, like, anything you want, anything you need, let's talk. Don't get me wrong, she does wrong. She gets told off, she knows. And prison isn't a nice place to be. Like people, I made myself comfortable while I was in there, but it's not a nice place to be. And it hits people mostly at night time. During the day, you might be busy, you're working, you're in education, you're on the wing, you're playing table tennis. As soon as you look that door, is you and your thoughts. They're just there, lonely. Like you'll cry sometimes because like, and everything else going on. And at the point, one of the weakest moments for me in prison was when my brother got shot. You got shot in 2008. I was in prison. There's nothing I could do. There was nothing. No one even wants to speak to me on the phone. I'm trying to find out, but that's a bit selfish for me because I'm trying to say what's going on, but no one wants to hear from me right now because someone's dealing with that. And then, so yeah, going to prison is a very selfish act because you choose to commit the crimes that lead you. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you might do something just by mistake. Let's say as a manslaughter, you didn't mean to do something and something's happened, right? But a lot of time people choose to commit a crime knowingly they'll end up going to prison and the consequence that comes with it. So it affects a lot of people on the outside and we don't take it into consideration. And one thing I always say to myself, like, oh, thank God that my brother lived. Because had he died and I couldn't even be there and so on, that would have been on me all the time. I see a lot of times with people where their parents or family members passed while they're in prison. So the last memory that your parents or whoever had of you was you in prison. That must feel. And then I know people as well where they couldn't even go to their cousin's funeral. They couldn't go to their grandparents unless it's your immediate family, unless it's your mum, dad, brother, sister. You're not going outside for no funeral. So that's what people don't see. And for me, I had so many friends who died while I was in there. I couldn't even go to their funerals.
Yeah, that's peak. So what was that? Because you said when you're all up and down the country, what was the furthest that you went away?
Oh, they sent me to Camp Hill on the Isle of Wight. Yeah.
What you saying? Visits scarce.
Oh, forget visits. I didn't even bother, man. Because first of all, you have to drive all the way to Portsmouth or Southampton already. That's a good 2.5 hour drive. Once you're there, you have to get on a ferry. That ferry, I don't know, maybe another 40 minutes or so. Get on that ferry, then drive down. Then you have to wait to get there. I told my people, forget that. And lucky for us, they closed down that prison and sent us all back to London because at that point it was a bit peak.
Yeah.
I'm someone that I'm calling my own company. Like, and at the point as well, like when I was in a relationship, I broke it off because I couldn't deal with the stress of being in a relationship with Joe. Prison makes you paranoid. She don't answer her phone once. She thinking, rah. These times she just at work, finish late, or she having drinks with her friends. But prison will bring out the worst in thinking and be like, rah, nah, man, who's she with? Because back in the day, we've been there, right? Where a girl had a guy who's in prison and you managed to cut through. So I'm thinking, right, who am I that someone might have to cut through? So I didn't want to have that on my mind. So I'm like, you know what? It's cool if it's meant to be, it will be when I come out. When I'm in jail.
And you said like you're comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
Do you still feel like that? Obviously, you was away for a long time.
Yeah.
So like now being in the outside world, are there times when you still feel like that? What's the effects that it's had on you when you're doing your day to day? Because I'm sure everyone sees, oh, Bobby Kasanga on the internet doing this, doing that, football, like, do you know what I mean? All this stuff going on. So to the outside world and to yourself, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But what are the effects, or can you still see some of the effects that it's having on you, or it's having?
Listen, Brian's my friend from when he was 14. He was on the road with me, right? And he didn't go through the whole path. He changed his life and so on, and went the other way, right? He's probably the only friend from back in those days that I still hang with. Obviously, my business partner now as well. More times people see me like, yo, what's going? I don't chill with no one. I go to football, and with the man them at football, every now and then I might go to a party. Like when something's like there's a Congolese rumba night tonight, my brethren's event. I might go.
These Congolese boys.
Now we've got football tomorrow, so I doubt that I'll go, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not a man that's always in around. I do my events, so people might think, oh, I'm all over the place because I'm producing stuff. I'm doing events. I'm doing workshops. I'm going to football. I'm doing the music. It's all work related. Besides that, I don't meet people up socially just to chill and hang around. I'm at home with my family. So that's what prison's like, because while I was in there, wait a minute, you didn't come and visit me. You didn't send me no money. So why now I'm out, I'm going to be coming to hang around with you? And also, you're still doing things that we were doing back in those days. You're not changing. So why am I going to be in your car? We get pulled by police. Next thing, oh yeah, I'm in prison because there was something in your car and you didn't want to admit that it was yours. Now I can't snitch because that's the rules that we lead by. I must now go and sit in jail. So I take myself away from people I don't need to be around. It's as simple as that.
And that's you're blatantly saying from being in prison, it just made you have that mindset. Like, I'm not really trying to be around people. I know who's been
because
there.
I've done 8 years in there, and you didn't visit me once. You didn't come in and send me no post order. You didn't check on my mum. So why now gonna come out? And also, when I've come out, I've not asked for any handouts. I've not said, yo, get me this company. The one person that, like I said, Brian reached out to me, I got ideas to start this football club. I'll pay for the website domain.
Yeah.
And that's all I needed. So it's not nothing like, oh, I need you to do it. I just work behind the scenes by myself, working till we got where we are.
So looking at, just having a holistic view, looking at what's going on nowadays, like when you see the youth and obviously some of the work that you're doing, what is, like, for you, what's your perception of what's going on with the youth in comparison? Not to be that old guy, like, oh, when we were younger, we were doing that. When you're looking at what's going on now, what are the differences you say? What are the advantages, disadvantages?
I'll say there's not much difference. The only difference is social media and the visibility that everyone has. Back in the day, you're from Brixton, from Peckham, me and you might fight. Everyone heard about it, but it would die. Not that it would die down, but it wouldn't go viral, and it might just go away in itself. Now, me and you have a fight. Someone's recorded it.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. I can't take the embarrassment. Charlie beat me up. It's all over. I have to get him back.
Yeah.
That's one of the main differences I feel. And then obviously, with the rise of, there's always been gangster rap and people cussing each other, but saying with the rise of drill music being sort of associated with the whole get back and revenge thing, that sort of push it to a higher sort of scale. Like you think, oh yeah, I'm not like this, but we were all the same. We was all doing the robberies. We was all fighting. We was all carrying knives. But it's about now being in the position we are. Just say, yo, you don't need to do this.
Yeah.
Not everyone's gonna listen, but for those it's very cliche. But if at least one kid hears, one kid can be a teacher tomorrow, and that teacher now has got 30 students that he's talking to. So it's about
it's a ripple effect.
Yeah, it's a ripple effect. So I wouldn't say there's much difference, but everything's just more visible now.
Yeah, no, I get that. And then you know what? You just made a point when you said about, because I'm looking back when we were younger, like when you talk about like carrying a knife. Like I've had these conversations, I'm like, but it's so easy. I don't even know if it's peer pressure. It's just like, we go on a school trip. We can buy knives. When we were younger, you could go Cali. You could buy knives. I'm talking like literally, we buy knives. You're in a coach, so you're bringing it back. It's not even like customs like that. Do you know what I mean? And it's never the intention. I've got this knife when I was younger anyway. I've got this knife and I'm going to go and stab someone. You're just like, oh yeah, we roll with knives. Do you know what I mean? And you've always got that one friend that's like always trying to bore you up. And you're like, stop this. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so I think that sometimes when I look back in the past and I look at now, and even when I talk to young people, you don't even realize that you're doing certain things. You're just doing it because that's what we do.
Yeah.
And then you end up getting caught up. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them. But another question I wanted to ask you, like, so with your podcast, right? it seems that, I don't know, I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, it seems like the majority of people that you interview are from the roads,
Yeah.
let's say from that sort of background. Why did you want to shine a light on that particularly?
It was even by accident, you know. So originally, when I was in prison, I wrote 2 books, right? It was based around what I'd been arrested for, the murder, right? And everyone wanted to know what had happened and so on. So I started writing and giving snippets on Facebook. And then everyone's like, no, the book is so hard. This needs to be a movie or... So but when I got out, I didn't
What
even
made you want to
concentrate on it.
write the book though, anyway, in general?
One of my bridges, I spoke to him today actually, PI, Piggy. It was a HMP ISIS.
Yeah.
And he must have written a book. And he said, oh, read this. I was in the reading. I'm like, bro, this is... I was just bored. I thought, you know what, let me write it as well.
Yeah.
I started doing it, and then everyone in jail started reading it. So when I've come out, people are like, hey, what happened to that book, man? You should make that into a film, to a series, whatever. And I thought, all right, cool. Then we got a bit of funding from the lottery. So I thought, you know what, let's get a youth project together.
What do you mean you got a bit of funding? Like how? Tell me, so you came out, how did you get funding?
Oh no, I mean after we established a football club for a couple of years, so we didn't win a football club, so they've been doing our work, but we realised that not everyone wants to play football. Some people want to do music, some people want to do drama. So through Apple Lion, we got saying that we want to do football, drama, and music to safeguard the kids and keep them off the streets and give them education and so on. So we've got the funding, and as part of that, we decided to produce a drama series based around that incident to teach the young kids about the lifestyle and what comes with it, basically.
How it can go wrong.
And then sort of to kind of tell the story of Peckham, how it was then, I want to kind of educate people. So I started doing the murder stories where I go, this is a story of Paul, this is a story of Mike. It all just doing different murder stories that happen in Peckham. Literally, I'll make like a 3 or 4 minute video. So like, for example, I'll say, this is Paul. I'll show a picture of Paul. He was from Peckham. I'll show a picture of Peckham or whatever estate he was. He went to this school. I'll show the picture of school. So it's basically like a short video just detailing the story of that guy, basically 3 or 4 minutes. And then I was doing it for different murders and they just went viral. Like everyone was, then the page went from like...
You see when you first started it though, so let's say, are these people that were your friends or the people like you could say like, oh, I want to do this with you, X, Y, Z, or did you just do it?
So there were people that I'd known. For example, when I done one on my first friend, Javaria Crimes, like my close friend, right, who's part of the first case, right? And then there's others where I know, and everyone I'd done in Peckham, I knew them on a personal level. It wasn't people I didn't know now. And then I thought, right, everyone's learning and understanding. This time the raver had come out from prison for a few years, and he was a name everyone knew in Peckham, but no one knows who he is, never really spoken about. I was onto him for the first couple of years, going, come on, let me speak to you, let me do a story about you. So he's like, nah. In the end, I'm like, let's do an interview. He's like, you know what? Let's do this interview. So literally it was COVID. And I think everything works for me at a perfect moment because it's COVID, we're in lockdown, everyone's at home, there's nothing to do. So people are lapping at these videos. So when I done an interview with Raver, like around 1,000 people tapped in on Instagram Live. Man. My Instagram Live will normally have like 8 or 9 people sort of thing. So it's like everyone tapped in and I got it, put it onto YouTube and they got 32,000 views in a couple of days. I'm like, yeah. Okay, that's mad. So maybe I should do more interviews. And for the back, I say, who should I interview next? So I've done Stanner from Walthamstow. Then more and more people. I've done Young Size. I've done bare Instagram lives. And for the back of that, people say, you know what? These interviews are sick. But as things are opening, you should get a studio and get it done properly. So they open things up. So I had a little studio in Woolwich that we still use now. So you see, my first videos weren't always great. I started actually kind of video people, and then it just took off. And then I guess because of how I was doing it, what I was talking about, it was only right for me to actually interview people from the roads or who live that lifestyle. But since then, I've had diverse people. I've had a lady called Waka. She's a black photographer who's done some photography for some of the biggest brands in the world, but no one knows her story. I said, you can't. I mean, these videos don't get that many views. I think that one we got like 4,000 views. But at the same time, for me, it was like
see that, like you said, 4,000 views. To us, that's a lot. Like, do you know what I mean? We're not all at your level, but carry on, crack on.
No, but like,
in comparison,
for me, it was like compared to the other videos where someone will get 40,000, 50,000 views. Hers had 4,000 views, but at the same time, I'm not gonna stop not telling these stories. So I've had like people who, like, had a teacher, Mark, who went through some madness and became a head teacher, and his one got I think like 10, 11,000 views at the time. But it's like giving voices to different people, while at the same time, I know the core audience want the rappers, the core audience wants the ex-gang members, the core audience wants the sort of criminal names and that. But at the same time, as you're diversifying, as you're growing, you need to change your all this oil. These people are all gonna be there. Like BBC, they don't just make EastEnders. They'll make Holby City too. They'll make Casualties too. They'll make. So is that can I cater for different people as well? So for me, this is the cash cow in regards to these are what people want to hear. But let me interview this person because I've got a mad story that I personally like as well.
Why do you think we should shine a light on those characters that we're talking about, the people we grew up with? Why do you think they need that platform?
Because they have a story to tell that, for example, not to sort of put them on that level, but the mafia, we all want to know. We all have that intrigue, right? And like, if you see my interviews, everyone says what they like about interviews because it's not just like, oh, so yeah, you was a bad man, and this is like, okay, how did you grow up? Did you live in a single parent household? How do you think that affected you? How was you at school? What was your dreams? What was your aspiration? At which point did it change that you started to jump on the road? What was it actually? So therefore, a young person seeing that can say, oh, raw. Oh, this is what I need to look out for. Or a parent can see, okay, so it was this thing that made him change. So I've got kids, so now I can see, you know what? From watching that interview, I have to look out for this, I have to look out for that. Oh, so people who never been to prison, oh, so this is what happened in prison. Oh, you know what? Fuck crime, I ain't doing crime. So that's the reason why, basically.
Okay. So, like you said, like one thing that seems quite like prevalent is that you're adaptable.
Yeah.
Because you said about, I just done it, I went on a live, and then it started building.
It's gonna sound a bit egotistical, but I am so creative. Like I literally think of something and straight away I got an idea, I'm making it happen. I said, everyone was in lockdown last year, right? And then literally I couldn't go to my mum's house to get some Congolese food. So I said, I put up a picture because I got a bit of a Congolese following. I put a picture of Taba and the food. Oh, I said, I missed this, man. And bare people, the Congolese could be like, oh, what I'll do some Taba now. I said, Raj, I'll bring you guys some. They were like, yeah. I said, it's going to cost this much. I started a food business. Just like that. Then everyone, from when Dappy started ordering it and Ambush ordered some Taba, it made other people say, I want some of that. So just about, people say, okay, do football, stick to football. But there's more to life than just football. It's like, okay, only go to, on a holiday, when you go on holiday, only go to France. Why? There's a whole lot of Africa. There's Australia that no one talks about. There's Brazil. I want to go everywhere. So it's about trying to have as many experiences in life as possible.
And then when you're seeing those opportunities, knowing that they are opportunities and rolling with them and just asking sometimes, you know what I mean? Because I feel sometimes for myself and I feel for a lot of others, maybe the pressures of society or people telling you can't do this, you can't do that. This is what you're good at, do that. Sometimes it can hold you back. 100%. So it's like you're saying, seeing that opportunity, food, people need food. Because obviously you've got this entrepreneurial spirit. Do you know what I mean? And then you're diversifying and you're doing a lot of different things. So the reason I say that to say this is for other people that maybe are hearing you, being able to say, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And how do I do it? What's the tools? How do I
remember, I wouldn't even see myself as successful. I'll say there's still a lot more I need to do to make things sustainable and make things go. Like I'm someone that's jack of all trades, but you should always say it's not always the right thing. But you can absolutely do whatever you want to do in life. Just to be consistent.
Do you think a lot of people see that though? And you know what I mean when I ask that question? Do you think a lot of people, because they see the end product, they see Bobby Kasanga, like, do you know what I mean? They see that.
I told them. That's what I told them.
That's what I'm saying.
When I went to the No Behavior podcast, Winners Talking podcast with Pound Sterling, and even on the 90s podcast, 90s Baby podcast, I broke it down. I said I was literally out there with a bucket, knocking on doors. Hi, look, I'm starting a football club. I was cold. I mean, this is long, man. Then you look at the road. If there's 100 doors down this way, 100 doors that way, you're gonna knock on every single door. You're gonna get you get demoralized, but at the same time, it's like it's networking. You knock on someone's door and say, "Well, I ain't got the money to give you. However, I'll check you out." Cool. Then they check it out, send an email. Oh, you know what? You was legitimate. I'm gonna make a donation.
What made you have that drive to carry on doing that though? Because it's like quite easy to think.
I didn't want to go back to jail. The easy thing for me is to go back licking boxes or call someone for consignment. That's the easiest thing for me to do. But I say, no, I'd rather be on my grind. I'd rather work hard and do it through my own labor. I'm also a man of faith. I believe in God. I believe in being good. So it's like, are you going to continue being bad for end result, or can you just say, you know what, forget that, let me just try and be good and see what comes with the goodness? And that's fruits of the labours right now. Don't get me wrong, it's not always been plain sailing. There's been hard times have been tough times, but even now, like there might be a tough time next year where if we don't get any funding, if we don't get
Yeah.
what you call it. So you can't live just by okay, we got funding, we're okay now, because that funding is not for you to live. That funding is for you to keep providing the service that you provided for the young people. So we have to keep doing and making as much noise as possible to get as much attention, to get as much sponsorship, as much funding. But ultimately, it's become sustainable. You can't always run to a sugar daddy funding. Oh, we need more money. Because they look at you, okay, we gave you this money, but what have you
Yeah.
actually done with this money? So it's like, can we use what you're giving us and make ourselves sustainable in the long term?
So one of the last things I want to ask. So in terms of community, what are some of the projects that you've got going on now?
Oh, mate, there's so many. Like it's like non-stop. So basically, getting youth into work. So we done a thing with Minute Media through the summer, where 8 of our young people through the back of the 32 Barrel Cup. Uh, so 8 of the captains took part in finding out what what's the other field to football. Yes, we see the players, but what it is to be in the sports media industry, the videos, the photography, the interviews. So they done that. So 2 of them now are gonna get jobs from the back of this. It's about us trying to get young people, get them off the streets, get them engaged in something, and getting them into work, employment, or education. But through the back of that, we do workshops in schools. We go into prisons. We haven't been to prisons for a little while just because of the whole COVID
Yeah,
thing.
COVID, yeah.
But we go into prisons where we do gangs and peer pressure workshops where we talk to them about, you know what, you're here for gang issues and so on, but was it worth it? When you come out, what are you looking to do? You ain't got nothing planned. Come on, holler at us. How can we help you? How can we support you? One of the biggest things we've got is our campaign, Grassroots for Good, which is CIC. And basically, that's us trying to teach other sports organizations to follow our model. To
Mm.
say, if you're a sports club, don't just be a sports club. You can be a mentor, you can be a teacher, you can be a place of opportunity and upskilling these young people. Because people, okay, I run a football club, kids finish football, go home. No,
Yeah.
you finish football, tomorrow we're going to take you on a field trip to go and see something.
Mm.
So it's about trying to really diversify what services sport, not just football club, but what services sports clubs can provide, because you don't realize how much importance young people put in you. Because think about it, even the trappers, even the gangsters, stop doing what they're doing for a couple of hours to go and play football. So it shows that for a couple of hours,
Yeah.
they're gonna stop gangbanging,
Yeah,
they're gonna
yeah.
put their guns down, put their knives down, and put their drugs away to go and play football. How about now if I can give you football 5 days a week instead of only 2 days a week?
Mm.
So I know for those 5 days you're not involved in that lifestyle. Oh, but while you're here, oh, graphic design, ever thought about that? Oh, this is how to learn. This is how we can teach you. So it's about just trying to upskill our community.
Yeah. And what else? And then you got the football team.
So we've got the football team. So we've got 18 teams together. So we've got the men's team, got the women's team, got boys and girls from age 6 all the way through to adults. They play semi-pro. The men's team. We've got reserves league that we're starting this Sunday, and then what else we got? We've got the music channel because young people want to do music. So we've got a studio that we hire out where young people can learn how to make music and so on. We've got the drama school where we run that for a little while just because of the whole COVID thing. We're looking to bring that back in January again, where they come and do drama workshops and create their own shows, create their own platforms, and then let's do as much as we can, even with our YouTube channel, get young people to come and work with our YouTube channel and that as well, and learning how to edit, learning graphic design, learning how to put things together and create their own package and starting their own YouTube channels, just trying to upskill them.
Okay, nice. Seems like there's a lot going on. So if you like one of the questions I'll ask, so if you had a superpower,
Yeah.
you had one superpower, what would it be and why?
It's always between two, you know. It's always been either going back in time or invisibility.
Go on, explain a little bit about that.
Going back in time, I love history. History is my favorite subject. Like I'm a geek for history. Like I literally love it, and especially anything to do with the universe, stars, planets. That's why I get mad when people come with their flat Earth. What you call it? Like, shut up with your flat Earth stuff, man. So it's like I'll go back to the times of the Aztecs, times of the Egyptian times, just to see how people
See
lived,
how it
how
was.
life was,
Yeah.
the Tudor times, King Henry VIII, and all that. I love history, so I always have to go back and see, oh, how did they live in this part of the world? What was going on here? So that'll be my main superpower. Second one, invisibility. I just want to see what people get up to when you like. What does the Queen get up to?
Yeah.
Like just every day, just sit at home and be like, hey, How you doing, Charles? You alright? I just want to see that. What does Jay-Z say to Beyonce when they're at home watching a show?
So you just want to be nosy.
Yeah,
like,
nosy. This is a nosy part of me, yeah.
Yeah, nice. It's been an absolute pleasure,
Bro,
sir.
appreciate it, man.
Nice one.
Thank you, man.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.